Today, I welcome you, and I trust that you will find some benefit from taking the time out of your life to join me here on these elegantly raw tidbits. Today, we are speaking of fear. Yes, today I'm addressing something which seems to be so prevalent right now that I think I need to address it. So, what exactly is fear? And why is it that people think that the unknown is so fearful? But then, if fear only came from the unknown, then why it is that we're also fearful of what we know now? It's almost like fear has been totally and completely cemented into us in such a way that most people's lives are based, all of their lives, every aspect of their life is based on fear. We eat fearfully. We see people out of fear. We do not see people out of fear. We go to work out of fear. We do not go to work out of fear. We act out of fear all the time, and we act because, or we don't act because we're fearful. So it seems to be the underlining emotion in our lives at the moment for many of us. So why is this that so many of us humans give our powers over to fear? I am going to bring in some of the most amazing quotes that I know of by some of the most incredible Sufi masters who have really very much influenced my life. And so I'm going to first bring in Rumi, who says, always remember you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you've ever imagined. Now, I could make that into something fearful very quickly and easy, and so could you. So why do we usually choose that one, the one that's fearful? Because it's been inculcated into us ever since we were babies. Some of us were born out of fear. Fear because men were told you have to have someone to pass your names on to, as if the name matters. Women are told you have to have babies. That's what you came here to do. You have to fulfill your womanhood. That's out of fear. Some, because they got pregnant and were too fearful what to do afterwards. You know, it's really interesting the way we raise children out of fear. We're fearful, we don't know how to raise them, but we have them. And we also pass our fears on to them. So I find fear to be intergenerational. Some of the fears that you have feared all your life, that you've carried all your life, with which you've interacted all your life, are not even your own fears. Because most of our thoughts are not our own, they're our families. So I invite you today to think, sit back and think, what fears have you inherited from your caretakers, your primary caretakers, or from schools, or from mainstream media, or from movies, or from books, or from cartoons? I just like cartoons very much in the United States because they seem to be all fear-based to me. Someone's always hitting someone in the head, someone running away from somebody, someone screaming or shouting at someone. I don't understand why people love them and why what people put their children in front of them in front of a TV on a Saturday morning to watch them. It just doesn't make sense. And then they're interrupted by these advertisement of telling children what to eat, and none of it is food anyway. It's all manufactured stuff that's laden with very high degrees of toxicity and has nothing to do with the earth and doesn't come from the earth, but we come from the earth. So we need to restore our earthly selves by only partaking of everything from the earth. Isn't it interesting that flowers and trees and nature is not fearful? Not in the least. A volcano will pop and explode, not out of fear, but because it's time for it to explode. When are you going to explode into your true self? What fear is holding you back from being the volcano in your own life? Think of a rose. It never seeks to become a heather. It doesn't seek to become a gladioli. It doesn't seek to become any other rose but itself. Think of trees. An oak tree doesn't want to be a maple tree just because the maple trees are bound with such ecstasy of pure color and delight in the autumn. No, it continues being an oak, and it revels in being an oak. But we try to be like each other. We actually pull people and out of their own doldrums and themselves, and we put them on these pedestals, and we call them celebrities. And then we make them the icons for our own lives. And then we try to be like them. And then they're trying to, out of fear, they're trying to live up to that false notions of themselves that people have of them. And so they keep buying into it, whether it's literally buying into it with money or buying into it with their own thoughts. And after a while, many of them cannot live up to it anymore. And then they just dissolve into a world of even more illusion of drugs and alcohol and reckless behavior. So why do we do this to each other and with each other? We're propelled by fear on so many levels. And we've got whole governments that set up out of fear. We've voted people into office from fear. And then they come with all their fears, and then they create mandates and edicts out of fear-based behavior on us, and we willingly obey out of fear of not obeying, out of fear of speaking up and saying no. But I'd like to read a poem by Khalil Gibran, who his works affected me so much in my teenage years and have really laid the foundation for my own adulthood. And here is a poem I'd like to read by Khalil Gibran, and it's about fear. And he said, "It is said before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled from the peaks of the mountains, the long, winding road crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there's no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean, because only then will fear disappear, because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean." I'd like you to think about this today. I'd like you to listen to it again or read it or get any of Khalil Gibran's books, specifically The Prophet, which I really recommend highly. And for you to just focus on being completely and totally aware of the problems with fear. So here again, I'm going to quote something by Osho. "Don't move the way fear makes you move." Actually, I wrote it and I'm going to put it up on the screen. This one is from Rumi. But let me put up the one from Osho first. Osho said, "Do not move because of fear. Don't move the way fear makes you move. Move the way joy makes you move." Yes. What if you lived your life from a place of joy? Because, it's a mind game. You can change fear overnight by just not giving into it, by not buying into it, and by not subscribing to it. You can just say, "I bring forth joy. I no longer live with fear," or "Fear no longer dictates my decisions in my life and my activities and my thoughts. I now replace fear with joy." And then, like Osho, you will move the way joy makes you move. So let's go to Rumi, who said, "Put your thoughts to sleep. Do not let them cast a shadow over the moon of your heart. Let go of thinking." And the problem is that we think too much. We think so much that sometimes it's really the most delightful thing we can do, but most of the time it's the most destructive thing we can do, and that's why meditation is so important. I invite you today to please look at each and every one of your fears. Call yourself on them. Are they legitimate, or did you just make them up? Did you just buy into what other people are saying, doing, feeling, and what you're hearing? Do you celebrate holidays out of fear? I mean, who created these holidays in the first place? It was a fearful mind that allowed you to buy into them. So what if you gave up everything? You've started questioning everything. And instead you begin to live a life, a fearless life, a life based on an authentic version of yourself. Then you can say, as Rumi said, always remember you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you've ever imagined. Focus on this today. What if this were your mantra today? How would your life be different? I invite you to let me know by commenting below. And please subscribe here and click the notification button and the hands up button if this is of any benefit to you at all today. See you more on these elegantly raw tidbits every day at the same time here on this platform, Monday to Fridays. Thanks for tuning in today. Until next time.